Hey girls, it feels like it's been so long since I made a video or I've even seen a video. Space tour was amazing. But I have to tell you this really long story. I was supposed to get my flight out of Halifax, which is a 5-hour drive away from my house. I was supposed to get a flight from Halifax at 4:10. But apparently it had been changed to 8 o'clock that morning. So I get there in enough time to get my flight. No one's at the desk. We wait there for about 40 minutes. It's almost 4 o'clock and I'm stressing. I'm like, I have to be there in like 10 minutes. I'm so worried. And then we ask someone at a different desk from a different airline, is there a flight going to Boston? And they say, there should be. Let me check. They find out that there isn't. So we have to go to the Air Canada desk, like a different desk. And they say, yeah, it left at 8 o'clock. Didn't you get that email? I did not hear anything about this email. My mother must have at some point. But no, I did not hear anything of this email. Thank you very much. So they say, well, there's a flight going out of Montreal, but first you gotta get to Montreal. So, flight to Montreal, which is an hour and 10-20 minutes. And then flight from Montreal to Boston. Okay, I guess it's okay. But I've never gone through customs by myself before, which is scary. And at first it was going to be my dad going with me through customs just to get me through. But not anymore. And I was really worried about that. And so and then I figure out what time will I be getting in. They say 9 o'clock. And the concert was supposed to start at 7. And I expected it to end by like 9. And I was like, the only reason I'm going back early is to see this concert, and I won't even be there for it. I almost burst out into tears. I just held myself together because I was in the middle of a crowded airport. And my dad felt really bad for me. But I mean, what can you do when your mother doesn't check her email? So that happened. And then, of course, we have to leave, so it's hard leaving my dad, like leaving my family. It doesn't get easier for some reason. Done tons of times, but it just never got easier. I was thinking about him, and there I'm standing in line. He's still there. I'm like, bye, and I'm like trying not to cry. And then there's people around. I'm like, bye, Dad. And they're like, I want to give him a hug, and it's so hard. So I get onto the plane, and then we're just going to Montreal. On the way to Montreal, I managed to read this, Persepolis, a book I had to read over break for English class. I managed to do that, which was nice. And then get to Montreal, and we couldn't find a parking space if you can do that with airplanes. They couldn't find a parking space or a docking bay or whatever you want to call it. And they say, oh, since we have many international flights here, we're going to try and get one early. Oh, and then I was like, wait, my flight leaves in 45 minutes. And I have to go through customs. American customs, which is worse than any other. So I get to there, and since it's in Montreal, most of the signs are in French. Thankfully, they have the English subtitles, little tiny letters underneath. Not that good at French, okay? So I'm walking around, I'm like, okay, follow the American flags. That's what the lady told me. There's no American flags anywhere. I just see correspondance, which means connections, like international connections. And I walk like around, and I'm like, where do I go after this? So I go back to where I was. Spent 10 minutes trying to find this place. The first time that I find someone, like, where's American Connections? And I was actually like hyperventilating by now. And they're like, okay, you just keep following connections, and then you take a left, and then after you take your left, you just follow the connection signs, and then you find the customs. That was my real bad attempt at a French accent. And so I was like, thank you. And then of course I'm like booting her. I'm running, and I make it. I'm like, is this the way to American Connections? They're like, yes. So I'm walking to American Connections, following the signs. I'm still walking. I am still walking. Oh, taking out a shirt. Oh, no, still walking. And I'm the only person in this hallway. And I'm running, like almost running with like my bags in tow, and I'm like hyperventilating, and I'm just like sweating by the time I got to customs. And I took off my jacket. I was like, oh my god, it's so warm. And so I finally get to customs, and they're all like, there's no one there. I'm the only person in the entire American customs, and I'm like, ugh, because there's no flights leaving or something. So I'm like, yeah, okay, here, stop, ugh. And I get to the customs desk, and they're like, you have to fill out a customs form. Well, where do you find the customs form? Over on that desk over there. Okay, I'll be right back. And then I have to like scribble this out, and I don't know half the answers. Like, how much money are you taking in? I don't know. And so I give it to her, and she's like, okay, you're gonna have to wait here while we check your bag. I'm like, check my bag? What? So I wait there, I'm like, and then finally like, okay, you can come with me. I'm like, okay. And then they give me, and they tell me, okay, this deck or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm running. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting there. And I finally get there. The woman's on the phone talking. Oh yes. Here comes someone right now. Excuse me, what's her name? I'm Danielle Larson. Oh, here's my ticket. Yes, we found her. I was like, oh my god, they're looking for me. Oh, because like they wanted to leave, and I was the last person to get on the plane. It's not my fault. My plane got there a little late. Totally not my fault. So, I mean, then that's over, and I finally find my seat, and I sit down, and then I'm waiting in the airport at Boston, and I find out, the comp day just got on. They're not even on yet, and I still have time. So I'm here like, oh my god, I can actually see them. I'm so excited. And like, I missed a lot of fun stuff, like waiting in line and singing and like doing all that fun stuff. And then I got there, and my friend's mom just ran out, and she grabbed me, and then we went to the coat check, and I have a suitcase. A large suitcase. This big suitcase. So they're like, where are you from? Like, I just got back from the airport. Flew all the way from Canada. Long story. And they're like, that's dedication. I was like, thank you. Just want to go sing. You know slap bracelets that we used to have? I got a slap bracelet of Star Kid. Yes! That would have been so much cooler if that showed up. Hell yeah. This is just awkward looking.